So low. Okay, so yeah, he was like, dude, you're gonna love it. He was like, it's gonna be crazy. He said so. He went 3 times around the pattern, and then basically jumped out the plane. Um, and then remember, well, you don't know this, but we were supposed to solo like 3 or 4 days, no, about 4 or 5 days before that. But the weather having problems, this weather having problems, this having problems. So we just started doing other things, and he finally said, "Listen, if the weather's not the perfect for solo this next time, then we're gonna just move on to the next thing." And when we got there, I checked the forecast and everything else for flight, and basically the weather was good. So I was like, I got a little nervous, like not even a little nervous. I was nervous. I was really nervous. I actually, I was like, I gotta use the bathroom. I think we used the bathroom like 2 or 3 times, and I had a little shakes, and it would. I don't know why I was nervous. I guess everybody gets nervous, but for me, it was just those emergency procedures. You want to do right. You want to do right. You don't want anything to happen. What happened with Shane on this one is he brought me up, and we did 3 laps around the pattern. I think we did 3, maybe 4. But I know we went around, and he was like, looking at the plane, he said, if engine goes out here, what do you do? If your engine goes out here, what do you do? Like in each section of the flight, he asked me, if your engine goes out here, what do you do? And so we were picking different places to basically land the plane less than 500 feet, more than 500 feet, in the downwind and the crosswind. In the base, like where do you go in each place? And so I would pick a place and like I'd go there. He said, I don't know if you make it all the way there, and I'd be like, but that may be better, Well, okay, what do you do here? So I really like that. I know they talked about it. I spoke with my flight mentor right before that, Brother Matthew, and he was definitely saying like, even get on Google Maps and just take an overview of the airport area layout and picking out different emergency spots just in case. And so Shane went through that with me, and then I didn't expect it, but he said, I'm gonna bring up in a downwind, and I'm gonna pull the engine back, and I want you to hit glide speed of 73 knots. And then he told me to do basically a short approach. He wanted to show me that the plane will glide all the way to the runway. So went to the downwind, we did it. He said, you ready? Boom, we pulled the power, and he was like, all right, bring it to glide speed. So I held it back and got it right back 73 knots. And he said, now turn in. And I'm talking about with no engine, just slowly went down. It was really cool because I know we talk about a lot of those glide speeds, but seeing it actually happen was different. It was really cool to see. And I landed it all the way down to the ground with no engine, and it showed me like, oh, okay, this thing really can float. I know y'all know it floats, but in my head, I wanted to see it float, and I did. I saw it glide all the way down, and I landed completely. So at that point, I was like, dude, I'm so happy we did that. Like, really, that was good to know that, especially right before you solo. This airport is usually not towered, but they're switching to a tower, so there's a temporary tower there. It's a whole bunch of stuff. Which is really, I'm actually okay with it because all these different scenarios just teaching moments for me. So he got out the plane at the temporary tower and waited over there, and he told me, all right, go ahead. He did my endorsement, signed me everything I need to do right there in the plane. And so off I went. And so, man, it was, I sat there, did all my check. I did another run up to make sure, and off I took off, 60 knots, rotate, take it off. And it was very comfortable because you're in the pattern and you had just did it 3 other times. It was very comfortable. I was on the comms talking to tower, and I came back down. I followed exactly the procedure he said, and boom. I'm telling you, it's probably like the smoothest landing I had. But I tell you one thing, when I went up in that 180 versus a 160 horsepower, that 180 without him in there definitely took me up the pattern altitude really quick. I was like, whoa, like. I didn't think that extra 20 horsepower would be that big of a difference, but it really, really was. And so, made the pattern, came back, like I said, smooth landing. I mean, like butter. I was like, wow. But it's crazy that some people say they have a delayed reaction. I totally had a delayed reaction. It was more like I felt like I was mechanical, like I was knocking this thing out. And then I had to do a full stop. So I went back, went around, back to runway 16, and took off again. And boom, the exact same thing, followed through exactly what I said. Boom, dropped the plane. Dropped the plane. Landed the plane down smooth, man. And so then I pulled the taxi again. And at this point, there's a lot of like Cal Fire airplanes over here, helicopters. Yeah, there's military bombers, like all kinds of stuff in this airport. At this particular moment, the airport had got really busy, And so he asked me, said, Tower said, hey, how many more landings do you have to do? I said, I need to do one more. This will be my third one. He said, okay. So he pulled me up, and I went back to hold short at runway 16, and he had like one plane come down. I had to land two planes come down, you know, three. And so finally he called me. He was like, hey, just come on back. Your instructor's gonna be waiting for you by the tower. Great job. And I was like, okay. You know, I thought I was gonna be the third one, but I noticed that I was sitting on the, you know, waiting hold short for one, two, three planes. That's a nice bit of time. So then I circled back around and went over to my instructor, and he was like, you know, great job, great job. And I was like, hey, everything good? He was like, everything was good. What it is that there's just so many planes in the pattern right now, and they got a lot of traffic happening, and he just wanted to get you out of the traffic. He said he asked him, it's up to the tower, like, hey, if you can do it, great. If you feel comfortable, good, but you know, let me know. And then tower told him, well, I probably feel better right now just pulling them out of the pattern for a minute as a student pilot, and you could do it again, you know, later. So either way, I said, look, I did 2 times around, everything was great. I went back with Shane, and like right after that, we went down into deep, like studying. Like he was like, now it's time to really show you how to fly. I was like, what? This I thought this was the pinnacle, but it is not. There's so much more. And we ended up being in a class session for like the rest of the day, and so everything worked out really well.